Welcome to the ultimate card game lineup on Steam, where strategic dueling meets roguelike brilliance across 25 must-play titles. Kicking off the list at number 1, Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel is the definitive digital version of the iconic trading card game that launched a global phenomenon. Built by Konami with full competitive integrity, this free-to-play title keeps every rule and mechanic of the original TCG intact, bringing thousands of cards and stunning summoning animations to your screen. Ranked duels, regular seasonal events, and a well-crafted solo mode make it endlessly replayable. The learning curve is steep for newcomers, but deeply rewarding for those willing to invest. It remains the undisputed king of Yu-Gi-Oh! On PC. Coming in at number 2, Balatro is one of the most infectious and creative card games released in years. Built around poker hands, this roguelike deck builder has you crafting increasingly broken combinations, using jokers, wild cards, and modifier chips that fundamentally alter how scoring works. Runs are short enough for a quick session, but deep enough to consume entire evenings without warning. The minimalist visual style and hypnotic audio design make every hand feel satisfying regardless of outcome. It earned Game of the Year recognition across the industry in 2024 and continues to grow its audience well into 2026. At number 3, Slay the Spire is the benchmark every deck-building roguelike is measured against. You climb a procedurally generated tower, choosing one of 4 characters, building a deck from scratch run by run through strategic card picks and relic upgrades. Every decision carries weight, and the synergy hunting between cards and relics creates an almost infinite space of viable and broken builds. The difficulty is punishing but entirely fair, and victories feel genuinely earned. With hundreds of hours of replayability baked into its core design, this remains essential for any card game fan on Steam. Number 4 goes to Magic: The Gathering Arena, the premium digital version of the world's oldest and most complex trading card game. Arena delivers a slick, modern client with all the depth of the physical TCG, including regular new set releases, multiple competitive formats, and a thriving ranked ladder. Draft and sealed modes offer a compelling alternative to constructed play, keeping the experience fresh no matter your preferred style. It is more demanding than casual card games, but rewards mastery with some of the most intellectually satisfying competitive play on PC. The free-to-play model is reasonably generous for regular players. Landing at number 5, Marvel Snap reinvents the collectible card game format with lightning-fast 3-minute matches across randomly selected locations that dramatically shift strategy each game. With decks of only 12 cards, every draw matters, and clever sequencing across 3 lanes decides victory. The game is built around reading your opponent and baiting retreats rather than grinding long matches. Regular content updates, new cards, and rotating locations keep the meta fresh and engaging. For players who want a competitive card game experience without committing to long sessions, Marvel Snap is the smartest option available. At number 6, Inscryption is unlike anything else on this list. It begins as a creepy cabin set card game where you build a deck of woodland lunatics and fight a shadowy opponent, then transforms into something far stranger and more ambitious. The deck building mechanics are genuinely deep, and the resource sacrifice system creates tense, inventive combat scenarios. Between matches, you explore the cabin, solve environmental puzzles, and uncover a layered meta-narrative that constantly subverts expectations. It is one of the most critically acclaimed indie games in recent years, and a card game experience unlike anything before or after it. Number 7 belongs to Monster Train 2, the sequel to one of the finest deck-building roguelikes ever made. Building on its predecessor's brilliant vertical combat design, this entry adds new clans, mechanics, and boss encounters while refining the strategic depth that made the original so beloved. Managing unit positioning across multiple train floors while crafting card synergies gives combat a tactical texture that rivals any strategy game. Each clan combination opens up entirely different playstyles, ensuring no 2 runs feel the same. It launched in 2025 and immediately cemented itself among the genre's very best. At number 8, Marvel Midnight Suns transforms card mechanics into a tactical superhero RPG unlike anything else in the genre. Playing as the Hunter, a resurrected warrior alongside Iron Man, Captain Marvel, and Doctor Strange, you build a deck of ability cards that dictate combat actions each turn. Positioning, environmental knockbacks, and hero synergies create complex turn-by-turn puzzles that feel cinematic and deeply satisfying. The Abbey Hub between missions adds meaningful character relationships and RPG progression. It is one of the most underappreciated card games on Steam and a hidden gem for Marvel fans and strategy lovers alike. Number 9 goes to Shadowverse Worlds Beyond, the PC evolution of Cygame's acclaimed anime-style card game. It features a robust collection of archetypes with deep competitive potential and a visual style that stands out from Western TCG competitors, with gorgeous character art and fluid animations. The story mode is surprisingly substantial for a card game, providing hours of narrative content alongside competitive ranked play. Regular expansions and balance updates keep the meta active and varied. For players drawn to anime aesthetics and deep strategic card gameplay, this is one of the best alternatives to Hearthstone on the platform. 10th on the list, Hearthstone remains one of the most polished and accessible digital card games on Steam. Built around the Warcraft universe, the game combines deep strategic potential with a presentation that makes even complex matches feel approachable. Battlegrounds mode offers an auto-battler experience within the same client that provides an entirely different but equally strategic experience. Regular expansion releases and balance patches keep competitive play dynamic across multiple formats. Despite heavy competition from newer titles, Hearthstone's production quality and breadth of content make it one of the most complete card game packages available. Number 11. KARDS is a collectible card game built entirely around World War II strategy and history. Each nation functions as a unique deck archetype, with historically inspired units, tactics, and support cards that play very differently from one another. The blend of traditional lane-based card mechanics with real historical context gives it a distinct identity in a crowded genre. Ranked play is active and strategically demanding, rewarding knowledge of counters and card timing. The free-to-play model is generous by genre standards, and the game has received consistent updates since its launch on Steam. At number 12, Granblue Fantasy vs. Rising earns its place here not as a pure card game, but as a fighting game with a rich card-based archetype system underlying its character design. Each fighter's moveset reads like a carefully constructed card deck, with unique tools, counters, and win conditions to learn and exploit. The anime-style presentation is spectacular on PC, and the online play benefits from solid rollback netcode. RPG mode provides an accessible single-player story for newcomers to the franchise. For players who appreciate deep mechanical identity and high production values, this remains one of the strongest anime fighters on Steam. Number 13, Wildfrost is a charming but brutally challenging roguelike deck builder set in a frozen world on the edge of perpetual winter. Units, companions, and cards all share a unified countdown timer system that forces tight resource management and creative combo thinking each turn. The Overworld hub allows persistent upgrades between runs, giving progression real weight without undermining the roguelike challenge. Visually, it is one of the most delightful card games on Steam, with a hand-drawn aesthetic full of personality. It demands patience and creativity, but delivers tremendous satisfaction when your carefully built deck finally carries you through. At 14, Across the Obelisk is a party-based co-op deck builder, where up to 4 players each control a unique hero through a branching campaign of events, elite encounters, and boss fights. Team composition and coordination between players shapes every run, making cooperative play feel genuinely collaborative rather than simply additive. The branching route system ensures that narrative decisions carry real mechanical consequences. Solo play is equally viable, with full control over the party. Regular updates have added new heroes, routes, and story content that significantly expand an already substantial experience. Number 15, the original Monster Train deserves its own spot on this list as the game that made vertical deck defense famous. 2 factions combine per run to create wildly different card synergy spaces, and the 3-floored train defense structure gives combat a tactical dimension that pure deck builders often lack. Boss encounters evolve across the campaign, adding escalating challenge and freshness to later runs. The balance across faction combinations is impressively tight, ensuring that no pairing feels inherently weak. Even with its sequel now available, the original remains one of the finest roguelike deck builders ever released. Roguebook at number 16 is a deck builder co-created by Richard Garfield, the designer of Magic the Gathering, and it shows. The dual hero combat system has you managing 2 characters with separate card sets that interact and combine in inventive ways. The map exploration mechanic has you painting a procedurally generated world to uncover new cards, relics, and events before engaging in turn-based battles. The strategic depth is considerable, and the variety of hero pairings ensures substantial replay value. For players who love the competitive card game mindset applied to a single-player roguelike format, Roguebook delivers with authority. Coming in at 17, Cobalt Core is a science fiction deck-building roguelite with a time loop narrative that adds genuine emotional stakes to the roguelike format. You crew a spacecraft and battle enemies in turn-based card combat, while gradually uncovering the mystery of why you keep reliving the same events. Each crew member contributes unique cards to your shared deck, and the interplay between characters creates fascinating synergy hunting. The visual design is charming and distinct, and the game runs beautifully on Steam Deck. It is one of the more platform-shy gems in the genre, and absolutely worth seeking out. Number 18, Stacklands is one of the most inventive and unusual entries on this list. Rather than using cards in combat, it transforms them into a survival sandbox where every resource, villager, building, and creature exists as a physical card you drag and combine on your playspace. The core loop of stacking cards to produce new resources, fight threats, and expand your village is deceptively simple but genuinely addictive. It fits nowhere neatly in the card game genre, but belongs here because it proves how far the medium can stretch. Short play sessions and a low price point make it an unmissable experiment. Landing at number 19, StarVaders fuses roguelike deck building with turn-based tactics and a Space Invaders-inspired enemy descent mechanic that makes every encounter pulse with urgency. Enemies march downward as you manage heat levels and chain card-based attacks from a grid-positioned hero. The hybrid structure creates a card game that feels kinetic and spatially aware in a way most deck builders never achieve. Build variety is substantial, and the escalating difficulty of later encounters rewards mastery. As one of 2025's freshest deck builder entries, it stands out as a genuine creative leap for the genre. At number 20, Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links offers a condensed and fast-paced version of the TCG designed around the anime's Duel World setting. With a reduced life point total and smaller field size, matches play out quicker than Master Duel, while retaining the strategic identity of the franchise. Story-based character unlocks and events tied to the anime's iconic arcs give it a narrative dimension that the main game lacks. The free-to-play model is competitive, and the roster of available archetypes continues to grow with regular updates. For Yu-Gi-Oh! Fans who want speed and nostalgia over competitive depth, Duel Links is the perfect entry. Number 21, Thronebreaker: The Witcher Tales is a story-driven card game RPG from CD Projekt Red that stands as one of the finest single-player card experiences ever made. Built on the Gwent rule set, it places you in command of Queen Maeve, leading her forces through a war-torn kingdom in a narrative of surprising emotional depth. Battles are designed as card-based puzzles with specific objectives rather than pure duels, keeping every encounter fresh and creatively challenging. The art direction is gorgeous, and the writing matches the quality of the Witcher series proper. It is a masterpiece of the genre for story-focused players. At position 22, Tainted Grail Conquest brings a dark and grim fantasy roguelike deck builder with RPG depth rarely seen in the genre. Multiple playable characters each come with unique card sets and playstyles that dramatically change how you approach the procedurally generated world. Town building between runs creates a roguelike progression layer that adds meaningful weight to each successful campaign stage. The difficulty is demanding, and the card interactions are complex, rewarding players willing to invest in mastering each character. For fans of the darkest and most mechanically dense side of deck building, this is essential. Number 23, Banners of Ruin is a fantasy roguelike deck builder set in a world of warring animal clans, with a compelling turn-based combat system built around managing a party of 6 unique characters. Each fighter contributes their own cards to your shared hand, and coordinating their abilities creates deep tactical combat encounters. The narrative framing of each run gives the experience more story context than most genre entries. Enemy variety is strong, and boss fights demand a solid understanding of your party's synergies to overcome. It is a confident and rewarding addition to the deck-building genre, with a distinctive visual identity. Loop Hero slides in at number 24 as one of the most creatively original card games ever released. Rather than battling directly, your hero auto-traverses a loop, while you strategically place terrain and structure cards to shape the difficulty and rewards of each run. Enemy spawns, experience rates, and item drops are all influenced by your card placements, creating a fascinating indirect control loop. The pixel art aesthetic is nostalgic and charming, and the game hides surprising depth beneath its seemingly simple surface. It is a genre-defying experience that every card game fan on Steam should try at least once. Rounding out the list at number 25, Lonestar is a sci-fi deck-building RPG that earned widespread praise after emerging from early access with a deeply polished and content-rich experience. Set in a sprawling space western universe, it blends card-based combat with an expansive branching narrative and meaningful character progression. The deck construction system rewards long-term planning, and the variety of available builds keeps repeated runs feeling fresh. It plays beautifully on Steam Deck, and the full release added significant new content over the early access version. An excellent closer to one of the most diverse card game lineups on the platform.